Um, so what we do primarily is John and we do multifamily syndications. Now, I'm going to put a link inside the chat here for everybody. This was a great talk that Mac had, Daniel and Autumn. I think it's Autumn, right, Mac? Okay.
Correct.
So this is a great link to a talk that was done right here on the Veterans Achieves Business Systems, done by Daniel. He's actually in the same network that John and I are in. But in that talk, if you haven't listened to it or if you weren't there, I would definitely recommend going back and listening to it because what they do is they primarily in their talk focus on underwriting. So when it comes to multifamily syndications, there's usually four roles in the syndication, especially for people who are just getting started. So there is the underwriters and acquisitions. So that is what the previous talk that I just sent in the chat, that's what that's all about. Then there's capital raisers. This is what John and I primarily focus on. We focus on building relationships with investors that find good fits for them to invest in so they can achieve their goals and what they want out of life. There's also the asset managers. So these are the people that manage the assets, or they're the people that manage the company that manages the assets. Sorry, excuse me. And then the fourth role is a very important role that is the sponsor. So the sponsor is the one that guarantees the loan to take over the property. Now, how that works is when you're going to buy a apartment building. So when you go to buy a home, you get what's called a recourse loan. And so a bank's going to look at your credit score, your ability to pay back debt, and then approve you based off what it sees. That's not how it works for multifamily real estate because these properties are so huge. They're not just going to look at someone to see if they have a good credit score or not. They're going to look at their equity, their experience, and then decide from there if you are actually able to run and operate the property and not lose money on that property. So, oh, sorry, let me find my place in my notes. So that's what's really great because we look for properties that we can improve operations, increase revenue, and reduce expenses. Um, so what we do is instead of waiting and hoping, we're creating value in these properties. So it's called a value add. So usually traditionally, and I'll tell you why we're a little bit different than other people in just a little bit. But usually people will find value add properties. So they'll have a buy box. And so a buy box is like your criteria to which you would go and buy a property and start that process. So we don't necessarily have a specific buy box for a specific company or like for a specific apartment complex. We've developed with the team that we're working with. We're developing a buy box that's more geared towards a business plan because after lots of research and experience of what we've dealt with the past like few months of doing this, or the past almost year now of doing this, we found that the best deals are bank-owned deals, but I will come back to that in a little bit. Um, Yeah, so each property is like its own business. So again, there's places to improve operations, increase revenue, and reduce expenses. So when you combine that with cash flow and tax advantages and scale it, you start building something that looks very different than traditional investing, which is the beauty of multifamily real estate investing. And most importantly, for our investors and for us, we can start creating options to spend more time with the people that we thought about earlier, right? But here's the truth. Not all multifamily is created equal. Not all multifamily investing is created equal. And so that's where we at Granite Capital Group, we come in. So everything we do is built on one mission, helping people get their time back by aligning investment opportunities that work best with them. Because at the end of the day, that is what this is really about. So we're at an early stage in our company. We've only been doing this for about a year now, but we've already taken action and we're actually closing on our first deal this week. which is a 322 unit apartment complex in Atlanta, Georgia. And so we are being very disciplined in how we do this. We're not trying to do every deal. We're only focused on doing the right deals with the right partners. Essentially, who's heard of like the term success is like one connection away, or about like it's who you know. So we've really taken that approach, and we've been blessed with really great connections and a really great team to get these things moving. Um, because when you're working with the right people, it's not always about speed. It's about building something sustainable, something that allows people, not just like us, but as investors, to create a more to create more freedom in their lives.